5 things to think about if you want to start freelancing. Now, we all know the story. You've got a hobby, you want to turn into a little bit of that cash money, you know what I'm saying? I've been freelancing for a little under 2 years, and I just wanted to share the 5 things that, in my experience, are really important if you're going to start freelancing. This is not an official list. Keep that in mind. I hope it helps you out, so let's get started. Number 1, know what you're doing. And I'm not just talking about the traditional meaning. I mean, what's your gig? If you're a videographer, do you do weddings, products, corporate, music videos? What kind of video are you creating? If you're a photographer, do you do wedding, products, portraits, landscapes? If you're a painter, oil, buildings, walls, are you Bob Ross? That'd be great, actually. Just generally understand what your specialty is so that when someone asks you if you can take an oddball gig, you can understand whether you want to say yes or no based on whether you want to expand your horizons or not. 2, know your worth. And I hate to say it, but when you start out in the real world, your skills are valued at 0. And that's okay. You have to start out doing some free gigs. Expand your portfolio. Once you do 6, 7, 8 gigs, then you can start to go in expecting to get paid. But at least with those free gigs, you aren't committed to delivering the best product ever. If your client gets a great product, that's fantastic. If they don't, well, it was a free gig. But once you start getting more of those gigs and you start realizing that you want to actually get paid for it, you do have to know what you are worth. What are your living expenses? How much do you want to make off of each gig? But if you are confident in that and you approach potential clients, they know where you stand and you can know where they stand. If they start to get the impression that you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to how much you charge, it's going to seem unprofessional. The point of freelancing is that you are professional. That's been one of the most difficult parts for me, is knowing what I am worth, because I am not a formally trained film student, but I have a lot of friends who have helped me learn, and I've obviously gotten pretty good at what I do. Am I the best? No, but I like to think I'm good. 3, cover your bases legally. Let's rephrase that. Cover your legal bases. You should probably be getting per gig contracts. Generally, a contract needs to have the people you're working for, who you are, what you're doing, how much you're getting paid, a date, and some signatures. Like, that's the basic form. There's obviously a lot more to it. But you need to have something down on paper that says what you are doing and clarifies the terms of the gig. That way, when a client asks you a question, you can show them the contract. And I know it's something that not a lot of people like to think about, but it's a necessary part of the world we live in, unfortunately. 4, communicate. Communicate, communicate, communicate.
You're the communications officer, ain't you? You're supposed to be able to communicate.
I like to think of it, communication is not a courtesy. It is a requirement if you want to be successful. The most successful people can communicate.
What's the sense of having a communications officer who can't communicate?
Whether through emails, phone calls, texts, it helps to have all of that communication available to your clients so that they can ask you a question or move something around if they need to. Also, tying back into the legal stuff, it helps to document all of the communications that you can. And number 5, have connections. I almost put down advertise your business, but having connections is arguably more important because you can get a lot of regular business through people that you know, especially if they like you. At this point, people are shocked when they see the work that I put out and they find out I'm not an actual film student. That's the kind of thing that helps you form connections that gets you gigs down the road. My most recent freelance gig was the result of a connection that I had. Someone approached my friend for a gig. He referenced me because he was not available. A good portion of doing business is having those connections. So there you go. 5 things that you can think about if you are starting freelancing and you want to get into all of that. Freelancing isn't for everybody, but if you want to dabble in it, that's the great thing about freelancing. You are your own boss. I hope this list helped you guys a little bit, got you thinking a little bit. There are plenty of people who cover these points in far greater detail than I do and with more clarity. So I'll try and reference some of those resources down in the description. But until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what I do, leave a comment. I love it when people leave comments because I can converse on how I can do things better. So until next time, peace out.